Welcome to Mangu's Tutoring Services video class. Patterns. What is a pattern? A pattern is a series or sequence that repeats based on a rule. So there are many different types of patterns. So there's no real way for us to limit or define all the types of patterns. We will look at two main types of patterns before we begin exercises, and this is the first one is numerical patterns. So before you look at this video, you can refer to your notes or my video on indices. We will now proceed to do some of the examples. Now remember, you can attempt any or all of these questions before I give the solution. So let's go. Number 1, indices pattern. So we are seeing we have the numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, 25 and 36. So this here is 1. This one is 1 squared, which is equal to 1 times 1. And this 4 is equal to 2 squared, which we know is equal to 2 times 2. We know that 9 is equal to 3 squared, again, which is 3 times 3. And again, the 16 is 4 squared, the 25 is 5 squared, and the 36 is 6 squared. So we are increasing in squared numbers. So the next number will be 7 squared, which is equal to 49. Next we have the numbers 169, 144, 121, 181. So again, these are also squared numbers. 169 is 13 squared, 144 is 12 squared, 121 is 11 squared, and 100 is 10 squared. 81 is 9 squared. So we know the next number would be 8 squared, which is equal to 64. Next, we have 1, 8, 27, and 64. So some of you all will know this, some of you all won't. But if you do know your cube numbers, 1 is also 1 cubed, which means 1 times 1 times 1, and that is equal to 1. 8 is equal to 2 cubed, which is equal to 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 8. So here we have cube numbers, and the base numbers are increasing by 1. So this is 1 cubed, 2 cubed, 3 cubed, 4 cubed. So the next number would be 5 cubed, which is 5 times 5 times 5, which is equal to 125. So this is your answer. Next, we have addition patterns. So we are simply adding in a particular way, whether it be a constant number that you're adding, or an increasing number that you're adding, or decreasing number. So let's see what is happening here. We know 6 to 10 is 4. So 6 plus 4 is 10. We can see that 10 plus 4 is 14. 14 plus 4 is 18. And 18 plus 4 is 22. So this pattern is simply adding 4 to the number before. So 22 plus 4 is 26. Next we have subtraction. So 45, if we go from 45 to 42, it means we are decreasing by 3 or we are minusing 3 to get 42. 42 take away 3 will give us 39. 39 take away 3 will give us 36. 36 take away 3 will give us 33. And 33 take away 3 will give us 30. Multiplication. So here we are seeing that we have multiples of 5. We know that 5 times 1 is 5. We know that 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15, etc. So we are here on 5 times 5 is 25. So now we will go on to 5 times 6, which is 30. Next we have division. So in order to go from 400 to 200, one option is to divide by 2. To go from 200 to 100, we can also divide by 2. So this pattern is dividing the previous number by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50, and 50 divided by 2 is 25. Next, fractions and decimals. So here we are seeing that there is a pattern in which the numerator has one particular pattern and the denominator has a different pattern. So let me explain. So in order for us to go from 2 to 4, so we are multiplying by 2. In order to go from 4 to 8, we are multiplying by 2. So we are multiplying the previous number by 2. So here we will have multiplied by 2. And that will give us 8 2s are 16. The denominator, we are seeing that we are going from 3 to 9. We are multiplying by 3. 9 times 3 will give us 27. 27 times 3 will give us 81. Next we have a decimal pattern. So we are starting with 0.6 and we go to 0.9, that's plus 0.3. Then we are going on to 1.2, again that's plus 0.3. 0.9 plus 0.3 will give me 1.2. Similarly, 1.2 plus 0.3 will give me 1.5, and 1.5 plus 0.3 will give me 1.8. And then we can have a combination of the different patterns we saw before, or even other patterns. So let's see, we have 10, 16, 15, 21, 20, 26, and 25. So in order for us to go from 10 to 16, we can add 6. In order to go from 16 to 15, we must minus 1. Again, from 15 to 21, we can add 6. And from 21 to 20, we can take away 1. Same thing here, plus 6 and then take away 1. So we are seeing that that is the pattern. Plus 6, take away 1. So here we must add 6. 25 plus 6 will give me 31. And 31 minus 1 will give me 30. Next, we have 0.1, 1/5, 0.3, 2/5, 0.5, 3/5, 0.7. So if we look carefully, we can see that these are simply decimal numbers increasing by 0.1, and for every other decimal number we are replacing the decimal with a fraction, an equal fraction, that is. So 0.1, then we have 1/5, which is equal to 0.2. We have 0.3, then we have 2/5. 2/5 is also 0.4. You have 0.5, 0.3 over 5, sorry, is also 0.6. So we are simply increasing by 0.1. So after 0.7 we have 0.8, but we must write this as a fraction. We know 8 over 10 is 0.8. So 2 into 8 is 4, and 2 into 10 is 5. So the next item is 4/5. So let's go on to an exercise. Exercise 1. So of course you will take your time and attempt all of these questions. So you can pause the video here, attempt all of these, and then come back to the solution. So let's go. Number 1. We can see here that 81 is 9 squared. 64 is 8 squared. And 49 is 7 squared. So the next number will be 6 squared, which is 36. Next, we have a pattern that we have not yet discussed. So we have 1, 3, 6, 10, 15. This pattern is triangular numbers. So let me quickly illustrate here. So this is 1, this is 3, here we have 6. So what we are seeing is triangles are being formed using the balls, and the numbers are one circle here, or one item in the triangular shape. Here we have 3 items, here we have 6 items. So let's do one more. Right, so if we count, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right. So if we do one more row like this, we will get 15, and then the next one will be 21. So of course you can take your time and draw out all the triangles to learn more about triangular numbers. Next, we have 1 over 1, 4 over 8, 9 over 27, and 16 over 64. So it's 2 patterns happening, one for the numerator and one for the denominator. We can see that we have 1, which is 1 squared, 4, which is 2 squared, 9, which is 3 squared, and 16, which is 4 squared. So after 4 squared will be 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. And for the denominator, we have 1 cubed, followed by 2 cubed, followed by 3 cubed, then 4 cubed. So next we have 5 cubed. 5 cubed is 125. So here we have 10, then we go to 12, then to 16, 22, then 30. So this is the pattern that I am seeing. In order to go from 10 to 12, we must add 2. 12 to 16, we add 4. 16 to 22, we add 6. And 22 to 30, we add 8. So we are adding 2, and then we are adding 2 more than we previously added, and then 2 more than we previously added. So counting in even numbers, after 8 we will have 10, so we have 30 plus 10, which we know is 40. Okay, next we have 2. Now we know 2 times 2, or 2 squared, is equal to 4. We know that 4 times 2 is 8, or 2 cubed is equal to 8. And then 8 times 2 is 16, or 2 to the power of 4 is 16. And we have 16 2s are 32, or 2 to the power of 5 is 32. So next we will have 32 times 2, or 2 to the power of 6 is 64. So here we have 12, then we have 11, so that's 12 minus 1. Then we have 10, which is 11 minus 1. So we are decreasing the numerator by 1. For the denominator, it's decreasing by 2. So 24, 22, and 20. So one whole number less than 10 will give me 9. And 2 less than 20 will give me 18. So next, we saw this before in a fractions question. We should know by now that 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, and 4 cubed is 64. So next we have 5 cubed, meaning 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Okay, so we have northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. So most of you may not know what this pattern is. Okay, I will draw the cardinal points in. It may not be perfect, but it's good enough for us to illustrate. Okay, so we have north, south, east, west. We have southeast, northeast, northwest, and southwest. So for the pattern we are seeing, the first one is northeast, followed by southeast, followed by southwest, followed by northwest. So we are simply skipping one of the 8 cardinal points. So after northwest will be northeast, and the pattern will repeat again, southeast. Number 9, we are seeing that the numerator is increasing by 1 and the denominator is decreasing by 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4. 18 minus 1 is 17. So number 10, this is a mixed pattern. We are seeing 2, 3, 4. So this pattern here is increasing by 1, and we are seeing 20, 19. So we are seeing that this pattern here is decreasing by 1. So 19 take away 1 is 18, and after 18 we will have 4 plus 1 is 5. Next we have 3, 4, 7, and 12. So in order for us to go from 3 to 4, we must add 1. 4 to 7, we must add 3. 7 to 12, we add 5. So we are adding odd numbers, increasing odd numbers. So 12 plus 7 is 19, and 19 plus 9 is 28. So that brings us to the end of the first exercise. Let's go on to the next exercise. So here we have geometrical shapes, and these are particularly growing patterns. So let's start with number 1. Here we have the same triangular patterns that I showed you before. So we start with 1, then we go to 3. We do this by adding one row below, which has one more than the row on top. So here we have what we had before, the 3, and then we add 3 to the base. So we have 3 at the base here, so we must add 4 at the base. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now all we need to do is simply add one more row below. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we know 5 plus 10 is 15. The next item will have 15. So here we have polygons. So let's count the number of sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are seeing the pattern developing here. And as expected, this one will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since we are decreasing the number of sides by 1, the next item will have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Okay, next we have a circle where we have shaded fractions. Going from this shape to this shape, we can see that this goes from one whole all the way to a half. So what we are doing is dividing the first shape into 2 parts and shading one of them. Then half, we are dividing a half into 2 parts. We will now get a quarter. So next we must divide a quarter into 2 parts, and we will get 1/8 here being shaded, and then 1/8 divided into 2 parts, or half of 1/8, will give me 1/16. So next, number 4, we are seeing that we have a step being formed on the inside, and we are seeing that we have an L being formed on the outside. So this is increasing in size or amount. So we know that the neck shape will also increase. So this is what the neck shape would look like. We can see that we had 3 here before, now we have 4. We had 3 here, now we have 4 here. On the inside we have the same step pattern. Next, so this pattern may not be recognized easily by most students. So in going from the first shape to the second, we can see that we are increasing vertically by 1 block more on top and below. Next, we can see that we are increasing horizontally, but the vertical remains the same. So one block more on the left and the right. And next we can see again that we are increasing vertically from the last shape. So we had 3 here, now we have 5 here. So in the next shape we will increase by 1 block more on the left and the right, and that will give us this. So next we have a triangular pattern. So we are increasing by 1 row on top every time. So all we have to do is increase by 1 more row on top and fill in the triangles. So we are seeing that we have 1 in the first row, and we have 1 plus 3. We have 1, we have 3, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on top. So the next row we would know on top we'll have 7. Okay, next shape we have what looks like a T that is upside down. So we are seeing from the first to the second pattern we are increasing by adding 1 box to the left, 1 to the right, and 1 on top. Again, from second shape to third shape we are adding 1 to the left, 1 to the right, and 1 on top from the previous shape. So the next one, of course, we will have the previous shape plus 1 on the left, 1 on the right, and 1 on top. So we are seeing that from the first shape to the second we have an extra box, 1 extra square. From the second to the third we have 1 extra square from the previous shape. So of course next we will take the same shape and just add 1 more box inside. So we had 3 before, now we will have 4. And the lines are going diagonal. Next we have an easier one where we can see that from the first to the second we are adding 1 more column which has 2 blocks. From the second to the third we are adding again 1 more column with 2 blocks or 2 squares. So in the next shape we will go from 6 to 8. For the next one we are seeing that we have a rectangle followed by a circle. The next shape, the rectangle stays the same, but we have 1 more circle. And the next one we have the same pattern or the same shape before, but we are adding another circle again. So the next one we will have the same rectangle, but this time we will have 1 more circle. From 3 to 4. Next we have an X. So we can see that the X is growing. On all 4 sides we have 1 more block. From the second to the third, again 1 more block. So the next one, again we will just have 1 more block on all ends. So here we can see that we went from 2 blocks to 3 blocks, right? We added one more on all sides. And next we can do it right here. We are seeing that we have some kind of C shape, right? So if we look carefully, we will see that we are going from 1 block inside to 2 blocks inside. 1 block up to 2 blocks up. So we are increasing vertically on the ends and increasing on the inside. So the next shape, we will go from 2 to 3 on the ends, and we will go from 2 to 3 on the inside. So we will get this shape. So that brings us to the end of exercise 2. Let's go on now to exercise 3. Again, these first two questions, these are also growing patterns. So we are seeing that we have 1 ball on the inside here, followed by 3 balls, followed by 5 balls. On the outside, we have a perimeter of balls. So the next shape is expected to have not 1, not 3, not 5, but 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a perimeter going all around. Next, we have how many matchsticks will there be in the 5th row? So the first row has 1, if we count them. The second row has 4. The third row, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next row we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can see that we are increasing by 3 every row. 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 3 is 10. So the next row, of course, row 5, or the 5th row, will have 10 plus 3, which is equal to 13. Here we have another pattern. So we have this triangle, we'll say it's facing up. Then we have a circle and a rhombus. Then we have the arrow facing up, then down, circle, rhombus, up, down, up, circle, rhombus, up, down, up. And I expect the next one to be down. So let's draw. So we are seeing that we have 1 here, 2 of these here, 2 of the triangles, 3 of the triangles. So this one should be 4 triangles, and then we go back to the circle and the rhombus. So after the down triangle, we will go back to the circle. So next we have our last exercise. So number 1. So again, remember, you can pause the video here, attempt any or all of the questions before I give the solution. So number 1, we can see that the arrow is pointing right, then up, then left. Then we have right, down, left. And this pattern is now going to repeat again. Right, up, left, right, down, left. Again, same pattern. Right, up, left, right, down, left. So we are expecting it to go now right, up for the next 2. Right, up. Right, next we have this one. It is a little tricky. So we have north, northeast, southeast, west, east, and northwest. So north, northeast, southeast. Let's draw it in. And we put numbers next to them. So this is the first item. We put a 1, 1, followed by northeast, which is the second one, southeast, which is the third, west, which is the fourth, east, which is the fifth, right, and northwest, which is the sixth. So here is the pattern. From north to northeast, we are not skipping any of the 8 cardinal points. However, from northeast to southeast, we are skipping 1. From southeast all the way to west, we are skipping 2. So it's an increasing by 1 of skipping of cardinal points. So from 4 to 5, that's from west to northeast, we are skipping 1, 2, 3 cardinal points. So now from east to northwest, we will be skipping 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, from number 5 to number 6, we are skipping 1, 2, 3, 4 cardinal points. So from 6 to 7, instead of skipping 4, we will now skip 5. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer is southwest. Next, we have some boxes, each one having 8 boxes. So let's see what kind of pattern we have here. So the first one here is shaded, then we skip 2, 1, 2, and then we shade the next one. Again, we skip 1, 2, and then we shade the next one, which is here. So we are simply skipping 2 boxes and then shading the next. So if we go all the way to the end, here we will skip 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we will shade this one. Number 4. Number 4 is easy. So we are seeing that we have a triangle, then a circle, a triangle, then 2 circles, a triangle, then 3 circles. So this is an easy pattern. So next we will have 1 triangle and we increase with the circles, which is 4. Next we have a circle, or circles rather, and we use that dot to represent shaded. So we are seeing that they are shaded, but the shaded fraction follows some pattern. So let's see. We are going from the first block to the second block, then from the second to the third, we are skipping 1. So we end up here. From here now, we are skipping 1, 2, so that we end up here. Then we skip 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, and we end up here. So now we must skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that we end up here. So this is the one you will shade. Number 6. We are seeing that we have a right angle scalene triangle being rotated. So we can see that this one is facing upright. Then we have this one facing right. This one is facing down. This one is facing left. So it's making quarter turns in a clockwise direction. So after left, it will now go up and then right. Number 7. So we are seeing the numbers here. If we look carefully, we can see that from 0.3 to 0.4, we are adding 0.1. From 0.4 to 0.7, we are adding 0.3. 0.7 to 1.2, we are adding 0.5, and 1.2 to 1.9, we are adding 0.7. So we are adding increasing decimal numbers, increasing odd decimal numbers. So after 0.7, we will then add 0.9. So 1.9 plus 0.9, we will get 2.8. 2.8 plus 1.1, we will get 3.9. So next, we have a mixed pattern. We are seeing subtraction and addition. So from 100 to 90, we are taking away 10. 90 to 91, we are adding 1. 91 to 81, we are taking away 10. And 81 to 82, we are adding 1. So there's a pattern of minus 10 plus 1. So 72 plus 1 is 73. And 73 minus 10 will give me 63. So we have the numbers 240, 120, 40, and 10. So 120 is half of 240. So 240 divided by 2 will give us 120. Then we have to get from 120 to 40, that's 120 divided by 3. And then from 40 to 10, 10 is 40 divided by 4. So we are dividing by whole numbers. We are increasing the divisor by 1. So first it was 2, divide by 2, then divide by 3, then divide by 4. Next, we will divide by 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. Next, we have the core of a pattern is shown below. What is the 25th shape? So we have a pattern of 4 items. So what we do in this case, the number that they gave us, the 25th shape, we must divide that by the amount of items in the pattern for the core pattern. So that will be 25 divided by 4. We know that 4 into 25 is equal to 6, remainder 1. So we know that this pattern here will repeat 6 times. So it says 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So 24 will end on the arrow because the 4th item is the last item. So that's 24. So the triangle will be 25. So that last item or that 25th item, will be a triangle. Next we have fractions. So we are seeing that the denominator is simply increasing by 1. The numerator of 1 is remaining the same. So the answer will be 1/5 followed by 1/6. Next, we are seeing that the numerator is increasing by 1 and the denominator is increasing by 2. So 4 plus 1 is 5 and 8 plus 2 is 10. Again, 5 plus 1 is 6 and 10 plus 2 is 12. So next we see the numerator remaining at 1 and the denominator is being multiplied by 2, or in other words, it's indices where the indices are increasing by 1. So let me explain. So 2 to the power of 1 is equal to 2, and 2 to the power of 2, which is equal to 2 squared, or 2 times 2 is equal to 4. And then 2 to the power of 3, or 2 cubed, is equal to 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 8. So then we have 8 multiplied by 2 is 16, and then 16 multiplied by 2 is 32. So that's 1 over 32. 32 multiplied by 2 is 64. So it's 1 over 64. So now we have, again, simple. We have the numerator increasing by 1 and the denominator decreasing by 1. Numerator increasing by 1 and denominator decreasing by 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. And 7 take away 1 is 6. So again, 5 plus 1 is 6. And 6 take away 1 is 5. Next, we have whole numbers and fractions. So is it a mixed pattern or is it a fractions pattern? Let's see. So from 20 to 18.5, we are simply decreasing by 1.5. So we are minusing 1.5 to get 18.5. Again, from 18.5 to 17, we are simply minusing 1.5. And from 17 to 15.5, we must minus 1.5. From 15.5, we must take away 1.5, and this will give me 14. And 14 take away 1.5 will give me 12.5. So number 16, if we look carefully again, we can see that this is not a mixed pattern, but it's simply a fraction pattern. In order for us to go from 2 2/3 to 3 1/3, we are simply adding 2/3. To go from 3 1/3 to 4, we are simply adding 2/3. So the pattern is simply adding 2/3. So 4 2/3 plus 2/3 will give me 5 1/3. 5 1/3 plus 2/3 will give me 6. And lastly, we are seeing that the numerator is increasing in some way. So from 1 to 4, that's plus 3. 4 plus 3 again is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. So we know that 10 plus 3 is 13. So let's now look at the denominator. We have 4. 4 plus 5 will give us 9. 9 plus 5 will give us 14. 14 plus 5 will give us 19. 19 plus 5 will give us 24. So we are adding 3 to the numerator and adding 5 to the denominator. 13 plus 3 is 16. 24 plus 5 is 29. I hope that you enjoyed and you understood everything, and now you feel more equipped and encouraged to do patterns. You can feel free to reach out to Mango's tutoring services for more of our videos and other teaching resources. Thank you.